Have you ever made a pact with a friend? Like, if we're not married by the time we're 30, we're just gonna marry each other. Or if we're single when we're older, we're gonna end up living together and getting a bunch of cats. These pacts we make are usually silly, right? But they share something in common with the soul contract. It's another form of a pact, only it's something that we enter into before we enter into this world. So these are contracts that we enter into with other souls to help guide us through this reality. Because we need all the help we can get, right? But sometimes the lessons that we have to learn are not so friendly. So today we're going to explore the soul contract between the empath and the narcissist. And I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on the matter and why I believe that this relationship that is so common can only be a soul contract. Welcome to the Common Ego community. My name is Christina, and today we're digging into the idea that the relationship between an empath and a narcissist is actually a very deep spiritual connection that begins before we enter this world. It's a deep topic for sure, but I think if it resonates with you, this is something that might help you understand that relationship and why we had to go through it and kind of where to go from here. So let's get started. What are soul contracts anyway? So like I said in the intro, a soul contract, it's just another form of a pact. And we can't really know why we would make any specific contract because when we come here, we don't remember any of that. But there are plenty of reasons that we can think about and we can guess why we might have made such a contract. Maybe we've helped other people in previous lives and now it's their turn to reciprocate. Or maybe we have a strong connection with another person, with another soul, and they just want to help us for whatever reason. But so a soul contract is an agreement that we will come to this earth, we will incarnate at the same time, and should I need help, the other soul will step in and help me. Now, when we think about help, we don't think about narcissists, right? It's like those two things, like polar opposites, right? So here's why I believe that the relationship between an empath and a narcissist is divinely guided. It is a soul contract that we enter into before we incarnate in these bodies. We choose our families. We choose to incarnate in the families that we end up in. And we know exactly what's going to happen in our childhood. So we know if you've experienced trauma, you might say, why on earth would I choose this life? Why would I choose this family? Especially if you've had narcissistic parents, why would I choose that? And there are reasons that are bigger than us and maybe even bigger than this lifetime. But what we're talking about today is the relationship between the narcissist and the empath. So we're just going to focus on that bit of it. So we came in knowing that whatever you went through, you came in knowing that you were going to go through it. And your goal here is to overcome it, right? There's no changing it. There's no changing your parents. You chose them. That's what's going to happen. Or if you were adopted, you chose that path too. You knew that was going to happen and you chose this life. The end goal is to overcome that, to overcome all the ego that gets built up to protect us from whatever childhood we have, whatever we go through, and to come out on top, to get closer to our soul selves. And a soul contract is going to help you do that. We might think, why can't a soul contract get me a Lamborghini or whatever? But that's not really what any of this is about. This is about working through our stuff and getting closer to our soul selves, to raising our level of consciousness while we're here. And that's what a relationship with a narcissist or another emotional abuser can do if you're open to. No one triggers you quite like a narcissist, right? No one. So they really do act like mirrors to the issues that you have to deal with. They know exactly how to push your buttons. They know what your buttons are. They know where to find them. And they know how to push them. That's part of what they do. That's why they're so successful. But your buttons are different than my buttons. We all have different buttons. And we all have different buttons because we've all had different experiences. We've had different traumas. We've had different lives. And we all have different stuff to work through. So if you pay attention to what's being triggered, you can start working through those things. Now, why do I believe that a narcissist has entered into a soul contract? That seems like a ridiculous thing for any soul to do, right? Like, why would you want to be a narcissist? In our higher selves, we're love and light, right? We don't have these egos that weigh us down here. So why would a being of love and light choose to live their entire lives as narcissists? And now remember, just like you know what your childhood is going to be like, the narcissist also knows. And narcissism is formed early on. So they know they're going to become a narcissist, right? They know. They may not know their entire life, but they've chosen their parents, they've chosen their trauma, and their trauma is often what sparks the narcissism. And so they know this part of their fate. So they know that it is something that is not likely to be cured, not that it's incurable, but most narcissists don't want to be cured. So most narcissists will go an entire lifetime just hurting people without remorse. Why would somebody choose to do that? And the only answer that makes sense to me is that this is a soul contract. That, maybe the roles were reversed in other lifetimes. Maybe in another lifetime, I was the narcissist who ran unchecked hurting people, and I had bad karma that I had to work out in this lifetime. Or maybe it's not an exact one-to-one. Maybe it's not I was a narcissist, now you're a narcissist, but maybe there was some bad karma that I had to work out. Or maybe I did something to help this other soul in another life, and now it's their turn to reciprocate to help me. Now, another reason why I have been led to this conclusion is that in this relationship, in my specific instance, I was divinely guided to get out. There was definite divine guidance that I could not explain any other way. There were multiple things that happened, and one of them specifically is not explainable by any other means. So I'll get into that in another video. It's a long story, but I know that I was meant to awaken as a result of this relationship. And that's another reason why I think that this relationship is divinely guided in its entirety. All the pain, all the mess, in its entirety is divinely guided to help us see what we need to work on in order to raise our consciousness, in order to start shedding the layers of our ego and shift to a higher level of consciousness. Okay, so if that resonates with you, what do you do with this information, right? So now you're sitting here, maybe you were holding on to some anger for this narcissist, but now you think about it in this way and thinking, well, they may have sacrificed their lifetime to help me and others, because let's face it, a narcissist doesn't just touch one life. They impact many, many lives in their lifetime. So it kind of leads you, if this does resonate with you, it kind of leads you to a different conclusion about the narcissist as a whole. You may be able to find forgiveness for the way they've acted towards you, and that's a great thing. That is so amazing for your own soul and for your own growth. But just remember that in this lifetime, this person is still a narcissist. And if you go back to them, they're going to hurt you again. It's just how they're wired. It's a result of their own issues from childhood that they have experienced. And they're just going to play out the same role again and again and again. That's all they can do, unless they choose to change, which is highly unlikely. So what you can do with this information, you can forgive. You can find love in your heart for the other person. And you can maybe understand just a little bit better how we're all connected. If we believe that this was a soul contract, it could have just as easily been you who was the narcissist. And it could have been you who sacrificed your lifetime, this lifetime, to help other people. This isn't to say that the narcissist is a good person or has a loving heart or can be trusted. They are still who they are in this lifetime. But it's up to us to find that love, to find that oneness in this relationship and to heal ourselves. This is not meant to be encouragement to try to heal the narcissist. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. Narcissists do not want to change. They're happy the way they are. And the only thing you can do to honor that contract is heal yourself. And there's so much healing that can be done after an emotionally abusive relationship. Now it's much easier to see the things that you had been suppressing, the issues that you hadn't been facing. They're in your face now. After you've been in an emotionally abusive relationship, it's all in your face. If you want to deal with it, you can. Or you can just suppress it and move on again, but you're likely to encounter another narcissist. Maybe it's someone else who you've had a soul contract with. So, maybe it's a situation where, hey, if you don't learn that lesson, I'll be there to help you. And if you don't learn it this time, this other person will be there to help you. We're all here, ultimately, to help each other on a soul level. And I know that's very deep, but that's how I look at this empath narcissist relationship. And I'm really curious now to hear your thoughts on it. What do you think about this very complex relationship? Do you have a feeling like it's divinely guided? Do you think it could be a soul contract? Or do you think all this is crazy? I want to know. No matter what it is, I want to know. Let's talk about it. Okay. So if you found this interesting and you would like to hear more about this relationship, subscribe to the channel. I post videos every day. And hit that notification bell so you're notified when I post a new video. And that's about it. Talk soon.